Hi, everybody, and welcome to Evolve Love. I am your host, Amanda, and I am so happy that you have found this podcast. Are you looking for daily inspiration, motivation, and wisdom to help you begin your day feeling supported and uplifted with love? Well, you have come to the right place. This podcast is a space of encouragement where you can be held in your self-development because in order to evolve, you need love, and it begins here with you. Now, let's get into today's episode. Hi, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Today's a big day. It is not just Mercury Day. There is so much going on today. So I wanted to start off the podcast about this today before we jump into our card pull, which is what we do on Wednesdays here at Evolve Love. But today is a total solar eclipse. This is big energy. And you know what's really interesting is there is a lot of sometimes gloom and doom around eclipse energy. I'm not going to lie. Partially why I know this is because when I was pregnant with twins, I knew that my due date was going to fall around an eclipse. And I was very nervous about it. Like, what does it mean to, have a due date around an eclipse? And there are culturally some very, like I said, gloom and doom feelings around eclipses. And I was just like, no, I cannot have that. I cannot have the gloom and doom. I want this to be a positive experience. And I actually had to tune out a lot of the, stories and connections with eclipses. And what is so interesting because, with my twins and the scenario of all the things, we ended up having a C-section, and it was a scheduled C-section, and it was scheduled on the exact day of the eclipse. So of course I was nervous, but guess what? Everything went well, and it was great. It was fine. But I, in the back of my head, had that like superstitious feeling around eclipses. So if you're anything like that, I just want to give you some light to it. I want to give some, bright energy to this eclipse, because an eclipse really is a time of a reset. And this particular one is in Leo. And when we think about this also has to do with you. It has to do with self. This eclipse is shining a light on the light and the darkness within you, how you identify yourself. And what the big major theme in this is letting go of the people pleasing. So if you are someone who is a people pleaser, this eclipse is asking you to let that go, to release that shadow, to release that darkness so that you may step into the light without those ties attached to you. This is the energy of becoming the fullest, most authentic version of you, no fear. Going out there proudly and strongly, this is who I am. I am casting my own spotlight on myself, and I am not afraid of what others may think of me. That is the eclipse energy I want us to walk into today with. And it's so beautiful because, of course, our card pull relates, and it goes so well too with this theme that we have been talking about presence and being in the energy that we are wanting. So today I pulled from the Witch's Way Home deck by Emma Griffin. This was gifted to me by my good friend Brandy, who is also a Taurus. And what is so interesting is that this feels like a very Taurus deck. And being an earth sign, I was shocked that this is the one I wanted to grab today for our Leo moon, because it's a Leo moon today. It's total solar eclipse. That is what happens during an eclipse. The moon sign and the sun sign are in the same sign. But there was something about it. I was like, nope, this is the one. And what came out for a card made so much sense. So today the card we pulled was Free Your Mind. It's number 35. And the whole concept around this is stepping into your power, which goes along with our eclipse energy so much, becoming the fullest, most authentic you. And when we talk about this, concept too that we began with on Monday, it's really asking us, like, how can we be in our fullest power and be present with that power and to feel the actual power of the power? Okay. So we're going to get into this. We're going to talk into the discussion. And if you're curious to see the image of the card, I'm going to put it up on my stories, on my Instagram @_evolve love. So definitely check that out. But some of the big concepts with this: free your mind. Free your mind of what we were talking about, the people pleasing, the inner critic, the outer critics in your life, the limiting beliefs that you have. Let go of what is in your mind that is holding you back. The voice inside that's saying, you are not meant for this. You are not good enough for this. This is not who you are meant to be. Because if it's on your heart, I can guarantee it's a part of your purpose path. So clear that out. Let go of the noise in your mind. Be who you are. Be your authentic self. That is what this eclipse is asking of us, and that is what this card is asking of us. And being your authentic self begins with letting go of outside noise, letting go of the limiting beliefs that you have put on yourself, that you have been put onto by like ancestral energy, okay? Anything like that. Anything that says in your mind and soul, not good enough, that is what we are releasing. We are letting go. We are freeing our mind of that. Let go of others' energy on you too. Yesterday, we did a beautiful practice for loving kindness. And with it, I used an image of a bubble. And what I said about this bubble is that your energy can extend as far outward as you want, but with it, it doesn't deplete you. Your energy is going to remain constant within the bubble, and just because you're giving out does not mean that you are emptying your cup. Let go of the energies now that others put on you by also putting that protective bubble up for you. I learned this as a tactic. I can't even remember when. It's been like so long ago, but like I am more of an introvert, which is really interesting because you probably wouldn't have guessed that, being like I have 2 podcasts, I'm a teacher, I'm on my stories, I'm constantly talking, but I'm definitely an introvert. I love being home. I love being internal. I love having that solo time. And this tactic that I learned was when, like going to parties, going to events, I would have a lot of nervous energy. And the idea is to put a bubble around your space. That when you're entering any space, that you are going to maintain your own energy, and others' energy, you can choose to take it in or you can choose for it to bounce off of your bubble. I think that I also learned this when I first found out that I was a projector in human design. I think that's where this is coming from now. Because as a projector, having open centers, it's like I may be pulling energy from others and holding it as if it's my own, even though it isn't. And so I'm pretty sure that's where I learned this bubble skill from, to protect my energy. And even if you aren't a projector, like this can work for you. It can work for anyone. And I think as we go about our day and we visualize ourselves like this can help us to also have the power of choice, stepping into our power, right? You have the power to take on what energies come to you. And I know this is hard because a lot of us, myself included, if somebody says something to you that is negative or mean or critical or judgmental towards you, a lot of us take it to heart. It's never good. It never feels good to hear bad things your way. So how can we then in that moment say, this is not my belief. I do not claim this. What you are saying towards me is your perception of me in the situation. I do not believe this. This is not my belief to hold. And that can be so, so difficult. It can be so hard to try to flip the script there and just be like, no, I'm in my power and I'm going to maintain my own energy here. So because this is now where we're going into with our journaling today and what we are going to think on, I really want us to take time today to slow down, go within, meditate or journal. You can never go wrong with this, for the ways that we need to free our mind and to release these ties that we are holding that are not ours. And the first thing that we're going to do is I have a couple questions here for you to help start to unlock this. I'm going to put it in the show notes so that way you don't have to memorize them if you're listening. But we have 3 journal prompts for today. And with these, you can go as long form or as short form as you want. You could voice note it. You could write it. You could write it in your phone notes app. But these 3 questions are the start to unlocking how you are meant to free your own mind. So I'm not going to go into like individual topics because we're all different. That's going to be different for all of us. So the first question, this is a major one. It's so small, but it is so major. The first one is, who are you? Who are you? That might take a long time to write out. But yeah, asking yourself, who are you? Okay, our second question today, what uniqueness do you feel within? What uniqueness do you feel within? What makes you different from other people? What makes you you? Really taking time to sit with that today. Okay, and finally, our third journal prompt for today is, where are you afraid to let your true light shine? Where are you afraid to let your true light shine? So with these 3 journal entries, this is going to be really helpful for you as you're unlocking these items, as you are trying to free your mind and clear the noise, clear the limiting beliefs. And these questions are really posed in a positive way. We're diving into not, really not the negative of this, but like, how do we see ourselves and how do we want to shine in this world? And knowing that the uniqueness that you do feel within is a huge part of the light that you shine. And yes, that third question goes into your fears, but I think it's important to go there so that you're able to release them. So I hope today's exercises in your journaling and the thoughts that we shared here today are helpful in your journey to becoming your most authentic self, because that is what today is asking of us. And make sure you're following my Instagram at _evolvelove. If you haven't already, hit the follow button on the podcast platform of your choice. Please do so. And as always, if you feel called to send this to a friend, I would so love that. And ratings and reviews are so helpful too, to help the podcast be seen. So make sure, if you have a moment, I would be so appreciative of that. And over on my Instagram, I have so much stuff for you to check out, including a free guide, a free newsletter, just a lot of really supportive stuff. So you're definitely going to want to check that out if you haven't already. All right, everybody, have a beautiful Wednesday, and I will talk with you tomorrow.